want to really honestly thank you, the National Cultural Foundation, for putting on this show, because we are honoring icons, ladies and gentlemen, who have given so much to this industry. And the first one is coming on stage now. I told you, he started early in those 1980s as a young Lord School boy, singing back then, I believe, in the Untouchables Calypso tent. Billy the Kid, and so much hits. The only crown that this icon has not won is a Bashman Soca. He is a party monarch of Barbados. He is a sweet soca king of Barbados. He is a road march champion of Barbados and a calypso monarch of this country. When I used to party, it used to be Crossfire and who?
Square One.
And who? One of the leading band members of Square One, Barbados, the NCF, Soca 4.0 is proud to bring to you an icon of soca music. Make some noise and welcome Blood!
Hey, I'm Anderson Armstrong AKA Mr. Blood, out of none other than the beautiful island of Barbados.
So why did they call you Mr. Blood?
Mr. Blood, well, I started out as Young Blood. And how did that happen? When I started in the music industry, I was very, very young. And I went to the mighty Gabby, and he was having a first-timers tent. So when I went to his house, I had 2 songs. So we were formatting these songs, making sure that they were ready for the tent. And after sorting the songs out, we decided we were going to put them on a cassette. For those of you who don't know what a cassette is, it's a little thing that we used to record music on. So after I took my own cassette, and after we recorded the songs and Gabby took it out, he wrote something on the cassette. And at that time, I didn't realize he didn't remember my real name. So he wrote Youngblood on the cassette. When I got home and I looked at the cassette, and I saw the name, I said, oh no, this is the wrong cassette. He wrote somebody else's, he gave me somebody else's cassette. But then I realized, but it looked like my cassette. And I quickly recognized exactly what had happened, that, he couldn't remember my name. So he just wrote Youngblood. And I said, I like that, Youngblood. And that's how I got the name Youngblood. I stuck with it for quite some time. Then I dropped the young and just called myself Blood. And I think after I won the crown, or just before I won the crown in 2018, I decided to add Mr. Blood onto it. So now they call me Mr. Blood. You gotta add some respect for my name.
Hey! Come on, man.
Please welcome Mr. Blood.
Put something in the air. Jump up, jump up.
What inspired you to get into the music industry?
What inspired me to get into the music industry is my love for music from a very, very young age. I used to be involved in the school choir. I did acting at the schools. I mean, from primary school. I was also in the church choir, St. Barnabas Church Choir. And while at lodge school, started to hone my musical skills. You know, I was in the music class. I then was in the one of the law school bands, and out of that, leaving school, I had while I was in school, I had entered the calypso competition. In fact, the year when Gabby did Jack at the stadium, and I was laying in my bed listening, and I could feel the energy when Gabby counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and Jack started. I said to myself, yeah, I want to do this next year for sure. You know, so while I was in school, I started performing and entering calypso competitions, etc. And I was also into green room theater. And so I just, you know, started to spread my wings as far as entertainment was concerned. I entered the Richard Stout Teen Talent, so I not only sang soca, but I did ballads, and then I was acting as well. And from there, it just grew and grew and grew.
Tell me the genesis of the band Square One.
Well, Square One now, three of the guys, we went to lodge school and we were in the same school band. George Jones, Terry Arthur, and myself. When I left school, I was doing my own solo stuff, you know, as young blood. And one day George called, and he lived in Church Village in St. Philip. And he was a part of Country Theatre Workshop. Now, they were a dance troupe that, you know, did shows in the hotels, etc. So the manager of the group had asked George if he could put together a group that could do some filling music rather than have a DJ, do something different where they would have a live band to perform songs in between the dance numbers. So George approached me, and I was involved with the Teen Talent at the time, and I started scouting. And the guy who played bass in Square One, he was actually there as a singer, but it just so happened that one day while the band took a break from rehearsal, he took the bass guitar up. I said, he sounds good. So I asked him about it, and he said, sure, he was interested. And at that same rehearsal, I met Cecil Riley, who went to primary school with me. And he was also in the Richard Stout Teen Talent competition. So we all got together to rehearse and perform this one gig, which was happening around Christmas time. And from there, the band grew. We were rehearsing, and we were all thinking and saying the same things about, you know, music and having it as a career and whatnot. And we decided, you know, why don't we go for this? And the name Square One actually came up after we were going through all sorts of different names and weren't happy with anything. I was having a conversation with Matt Fingal, and he says, well, it looks like you all keep ending up at Square One. Why don't you just call it Square One? And immediately I liked the name. So I took it back to everybody, and everybody liked it as well. And that's how we got the name Square One, and that is how we started to perform for a dance production with the Country Theatre Workshop. And the manager of that Country Theatre Workshop also ended up being the manager for Square One for many years.
So how did Alison Hinds?
Well, Alison Hinds, now, she was born in England, but of Barbadian parents. And she had just moved back here and was going to foundation school. And how I met Alison, I was performing at Folkestone, and she was there with a friend. And she told the friend, you know what, I want to meet him. So that's where we met, and we became friends. And one day while we were having a conversation on the telephone, Alison said, you know, I really like to sing. I would like to sing. I said, really? You could sing? Sing for me. And she started to sing. And she did a Stevie Wonder number over the telephone. I said, girl, you could sing. And I entered her into the Richard Stout Teen Talent. I chose the songs and everything. And Alison went all the way to the finals and came third. From there, you know, the guys, we had just started we were around for a little bit, and we had just started doing some hotel gigs and whatnot. And I asked Alison if she would be interested in joining the band. She said, sure, she would love it. And she said, but first, she has to talk to her mother. Her mother gave us the okay. We all had to drive down to her mother's house to get her permission so that she could meet us and see what kind of guys we were and that kind of stuff. And she said, well, as long as you take care of my daughter, she has no problem with it. And that is how Alison became a member of Square One.
That's fantastic. So how would you compare today's entertainment industry to earlier years?
How would I compare today's entertainment industry to previous years? Well, I'll tell you this, and what I always tell a lot of people is I'm so happy for the time that I got into music in the 80s. It was a time where discovery was exciting. People they were all excited about the next new thing, and they gave the new young artists a chance, because we were now coming out of the 70s, where spooge was very, very, very popular and heavy, and then crop over had started, so there was a whole lot of buzz, and everybody was starting to visit Barbados, whatnot, and the club scene in Barbados was just starting to bloom, and bands were starting and bands were performing all over the place, and the hotels opened their, bands were playing in the hotels before, but then we started to get gigs and bands playing here, and in fact it almost became a hotel band competition, because you would go and perform a night, and the staff at the hotel would say, man, this other band that was there last night, I feel like them better than or they would say, man, we're not sound better than all this band. But so a lot of competition started inside of the hotels as well, with and not among the bands but among the fans. And then there was so much growth and growing happening back then. Now I find, and of course one other thing is the commitment of the musicians to each band. What happened then is like how we got together and we decided we were going to be a band. That was it. We rehearsed together, we moved together, we played, we partied, we did everything together, and we stayed committed to this one entity called Square One. And it was the same with many other bands at that time. I find now that you go out and you'd go and you'd see a band by X name, and you've got 3 musicians or 4 musicians and a singer there, and then the following night you go out and you see Y band, but 2 or 3 of the musicians that played in X band or singers are in Y band. So it's hard for the fans to say, well, I'm gonna follow X or follow Y and be committed to that band, because everybody's playing with everybody. It's more like guys are gigging now more so than being committed to building something and taking it to the world like we did, right? Like we called ourselves the ambassadors. We created our music, we built our brand, and we took it to the entire world. And it's so different now. It's so different.
Did you ever think there was a competition between Square One and Crossfire?
The fans did. We were all really good friends, because I started in Teen Talent, and Edwin as well was in Teen Talent the very same year. In fact, he was in the competition, he won the competition, and I was in the finals as well. So we were all friends. But it's hard to not be competitive when you want to be number one. You want to be the number one band. Of course, Crossfire started, and they would have wanted to be the number one band as well. But there was no animosity between the musicians, the fans. You kept that alive, basically. So there was always that tug of war between if you were a Crossfire fan or you were a Square One fan, because people liked a particular sound or a particular way we dressed or whatever the case may be, as was the fans of Crossfire. So I think, although we were all pretty close knit and good friends, that competitive edge was always the thing that each band would have wanted.
So what do you think about the Merry Men and the other band that sang Take Your Clothes Off?
Spice and Company, yes. And the Merry Men. We were big fans of the Merry Men, because when we started, the Merry Men and Spice were very, very popular at the time. The Merrymen, we performed at plenty events where they headlined, and we were, you know, like the next act, or supporting act. And many a night I would stand and I would watch, you know, the Merrymen perform and see how they control the audience, the type of music and type of songs that they played and that kind of stuff. Ivory was the same thing. Ivory had I don't want to really call it unique, but they had a style of putting out a song and, you know, working it and it becoming popular on the club circuit and on the radio, and then, you know, putting out another song a couple of months later, and then they were the ones who started doing their own concerts along Bay Street on, I think it was Gold Cup Day. After the Gold Cup race and people coming down, you know, they used to have a big show right there by the Esplanade on Bay Street, and they were a great band to watch and see perform. They brought a unique and exciting show, and you learned a lot from them. You had to watch them and learn a lot from them.
How was the After Dark Club?
The After Dark, man, that was where we basically got into the clubs, you know. We were doing hotels. We were doing like 5 or 6 hotels a week, and then we started working with Michael Downs at After Dark, simply because we were also affiliated with the Untouchables, I should say, at that time, who had a close, you know, affiliation with the After Dark. And I remember one of the first events we did was a afternoon type thing, and we were performing there. And the relationship between After Dark, it was like After Dark was Square One's home.
Yes.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yes, I remember going to a couple of shows when they came to Barbados. Actually, not shows, but, you know, events After
yes.
Dark. And you would headline. And the thing is, the DJ was started playing, but you're waiting.
Yes,
you're waiting for Square One.
That's right. That was one of the things. Is like, you know what, back then people were so excited and exciting and what's the word? I don't think accommodating, but for lack of a better term, accommodating with bands. You know, they were excited to wait and see what is going to happen as far as this performance was expecting. They came, and in fact, the headline of each event was the band, you know, and now it's kind of almost flipped. There's no band, and the people, they're just happy enough to go and hear the DJ play. But the DJ filled, you know, the gap, and the band or bands, they were the main acts, and people were excited to see. In fact, I remember doing a couple of clashes at the same After Dark where people, you know, the fans would come to support their band. And the After Dark then also had a music festival which ran for an entire weekend, and bands were formed just to perform at that event, you know.
That was exciting times. What's your favorite song?
Oh,
that you actually, let's say you wrote or you performed.
Yeah, my favorite song that I wrote or performed, the first 2 songs that come to mind is always Plumber and Kitty Cat, simply because out of all the songs that I've had, those are the most popular songs. They've done extremely well for me, and they're still doing well for me. Actually, when I do look at my royalty statements, you know, the songs that are paying the most still are those 2 songs, despite all the other songs that I would have done over the years. The Plumber and Kitty Cat, and like, I'd probably have to give Plumber the edge simply because that was the first one. I remember doing that song and not even listening to the radio to hear if it was doing well or anything, and getting calls from people saying, "Man, your song is playing." And then after it was so popular here in Barbados, you know, it then went over to the US of A and was number 1 on WLIB for weeks and weeks. And I was just happy and blessed that, you know, that did that well. And then the following year, you know, when I did Kitty Cat, that did extremely well also.
Your last recent performance with Kitty Cat was at Soca 4.0
Yes.
in Botanical Gardens last Saturday night. And you were performing it, and it was, to me, it was a beautiful experience.
Somebody, who know the dance? Who know the dance? Who don't know the dance? Come.
You want me to hold it down. When I get the cat, you must hold it down. Hold it down. When you get the cat, from the hold it down. Let me hold it down. When I get the cat, and the hold it down. Let me hold it down. When I get the cat, from the spread the leg, spread the leg. Look, I'm a kick from the front. I'm a kick from the back. I'm a kick from the front. I'm a kick from the back. I'm a kick from the front. I'm a kick from the back. Somebody, honey, drink it in here. Somebody, somebody, pussy. Somebody, do the dance, hey! Come on, sing it. Get the gap, get the gap, get the gap, get to the dance. Over there, over there. How about that? Shout me hard! I get from the front. I get from the back. I get from the front. I get from the back. I get from the front. I get from the back. I get from the front. Country! You give me so much trouble. One hand in here. So, do it so. Do it so. Watch me. I see the turn it up, 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 turn it up. Who know this? Mr. DJ. Play the music louder so I can give them pressure and make them all sing it, sing it. Mr. DJ. Pump it little harder. You got them. Pump it up, pump it up. I said turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. You gotta turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Mr. DJ, sing the one that big tune. Start the jamming real soon. Sing it, sing it. Mr. DJ, make them feel the bass. I want everybody turn it up, come. I said turn it, pump it up, pump it up. Watch them one with it. Yes, the man must be all this and them man must. Yes, the man must be all this and them. Hey, watch them. All the man must be all this and them. The road boy must be all this and them. Watch them, my name. Oh my gosh, my name is Mr. Blood. Boom, bam. You'll get it. I'll give it up. You'll get it. I come to better and after it. And then this cute little pumpkin. She started making advances. And then she was taking chances. With your feet and your back. I give it. You'll get it. I give it. You'll get it. If your feet and your back. I give it. You'll get it. I give it. You'll get it. Look, I come to like man, I like it. But she got it breakable timing. Cause as I start on the whining, yes, she appearing from me gyrating. Oh God, if you feel that's your bad, I give it. You'll get it. I give it. You'll get it. If you feel that's your bad, I give it. Everybody stop the bounce. Stop the bounce. Stop the bounce. Yeah, why you want to test me? Police gonna arrest me from taking advantage, causing too much damage. Why you want to test me? Police gonna arrest me for wrecking a bumper. Hands up, surrender. Boom, bam. You'll get it. I'll give it. Boom, bam. You'll get it. I'll give it. Boom, bam. You'll get it. I'll give it. Boom, bam. You'll get it.
Give your opinion on the recent competition, Pick of the Crop.
The Pick the Crop competition 2023 was a very keen and exciting competition. We had a lot of great calypsos, and I think iWeb did an extremely well job rendering his song, which was a favorite from the time it came on the radio. So he had a heads up lead on everyone. Then there was Adrian Clark, who came and kind of surpassed that, and people, you know, was in anticipation of which of these guys was going to win the crown. So to start out, you know, the crowds had their favorites of those two first of all, and then everybody else had to basically try to step up. And I think Quan, who was the reigning Calypso monarch from last year, you know, he did extremely well to place third. And then Billboard with his Foolish did an excellent job. He also had John Yard in there, and always coming in the top was Crystal Cummings Beckles. So the competition was keen, it was close, it was exciting, and I think, you know, the patrons left with their bellies full.
I saw what happened, especially like the draw, picking the positions
Yes.
that you guys would compete at. There was that camaraderie. There was
Yes.
no standoffish.
No. I think that's in the past. You know, that used to happen, but the mindset of the Calypsonian, although on that night, you know, everyone still tries to make sure that they're still in a particular headspace. It's warmer, you know, than it used to be in the past. You know, people aren't as tense and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So what do you think about now that you are obviously a veteran of the scene, because you have TC, and like let's say Gabby and Plastic Bag are passing off the scene. So how do you feel being the senior most Calypsonian?
Well, it feels good. I remember. I'm not sure how the younger talent sees or looks at us, but I remember being the one who was looking up to the Gabbies and the Grinders and the Pompeys and the Romeos, you know, coming into this industry and trying my best to learn. I mean, I remember copying movements from each of them, you know, as I was coming through my career and learning and developing my own style. And I'm not sure how the younger ones look at us now, who are a little bit older in the industry or a little bit more experienced, you know. But it feels good to be there, and it feels good that after 40 years you're still relevant as far as, you know, the calypso is concerned, or even some of the party stuff.
Writing the songs, do you still write songs for other artists?
I do write songs for other artists. I write songs for myself as well. I mainly produce though, because there's so many great writers out there that the songs never cease to come, and a lot of songs are coming, and of course you just sometimes have to help them tweak as far as the direction is concerned. But the way people are listening now, you know, you just have to kind of take the song that the artist is bringing and say, okay, cool, let's work with this and see where it takes us. But we've got a lot of really great young talent out there, and I produce, you know, so hey, I just try to work with them and try to teach them, and I learn a lot from them actually as well.
What do you think about Quan? Do you think he can be a good artist?
Which Quan are you talking about? Quan, the artist who won the Road March, or Quan who won the Calypso Monarch last year?
Who won the Calypso Monarch last year?
Of course, Quan. He is a good artist. Quan, from a very young age, was always dynamic on the stage, and he always delivered well. And he's already proven himself. He's won the Calypso Monarch already. You know, he's also a winner of the Junior Monarch. So he just has to, you know, stay the course and keep pushing and striving for excellence.
What about TC?
TC's been around. TC started as well in 1983. In fact, when I entered the Teen Talent, she was in my preliminary, which I won, and she had come third on. There was a guy by the name of Brian Carter who came second, and TC went all the way to the finals as well in 1983. And of course, you know, she's come, and she is, I can't even say she's come. She is an icon and a veteran in this industry. She's done a lot, and she continues to bring good music each year.
Last performance I see you performing, other than last Sugar 4.0, was that Cahabla part when you was singing. It's a long time
Cahabla
ago.
Pot, that's years ago.
Yes, when you was.
Oh wow, Cahabla Pot, man.
And you was also there in that time when you Square One performed. You all was, I think Alison was saying Fireworks.
Fireworks, yes.
Fireworks was going on in the background.
Fire, 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 fireworks. Yes, please. I see. Remember more than me, cause I can't remember nothing about that.
4.0, you sang that song.
Oh, you mean bandanas? Was
Yeah,
it?
bandanas.
Yes. That's when I won my first party Monarch with that song in 2001.
Yes, I see.
That's a long time ago.
Long time ago. But it's good because it's still, the show you still have staying power.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. In fact, since performing it, I've been asked, people started looking for it on YouTube. So I'm going to re-release it on YouTube and let people enjoy, that bandana song.
One more thing, what caused the demise of Square One?
Oh, there's several things, man. Time, energies, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't call it the demise, because look, we came together the other night. In fact, the band that backed me at Soca 4.0 was Square One, all Square One members. The only person that wasn't there, well, persons, was Shaka Riley, who he has a vocal problem, so he can't sing anymore. And Alison, she was in Canada, but if she was here, she'd be there, joining the team as well. So, I mean, everything has its time, and we, as Square One, we always wanted to keep the original unit together. So when it wasn't happening like that, we just decided to take it off the road. And it's better to as I always learn from Fingal, it's always better to done yourself than to let people done you. Because when you finish yourself, right, you can always say, "I coming back." Then the people done with you, they're done with you for good.
That's a good statement to make. Yeah, because I mean, when I was looking for Square One and it wasn't there, it was disappointing to me as a fan.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, because actually,
the fans are still looking and hoping to have a Square One concert, and you never know. We are all still fit and alive, and the music is still kicking, so it's possible that Square One can do something in the future.
How satisfied are you with your career? And if you had to leave a statement like you want to be known by, what legacy would you want to leave?
My legacy is my music. I've always said this. I like to make people happy. Yeah, I like that when I come on that stage and I leave, that when the experience that you would have had leaves you lighter. We all have issues and problems and that kind of stuff, and I call my music happy music. And if anyone anywhere in the world can pick up any of my songs, and take a listen, right, at the end of it, they are feeling better, happier, lighter, and a little less stressed. And that's the kind of thing that I want my music to continue to do forever and ever and ever. And I tell the young ones, if you show the music the love and respect, it is going to give it right back to you. And that's how I feel about my career. I love the music. I don't just do it because I wanted money or anything. The money came, right? I did it because I had love and respect for it, and I totally enjoyed it. And that is what I want people to do, to continue to enjoy the music, new and old.
So what about, speaking about new music or old music, what do you think about the music today, especially the Bashment soca?
The truth is, with every generation, the previous generation does not like the music of the new generation. For instance, with Elvis Presley, right? Do you think that the older folks in Elvis Presley time liked Elvis Presley music? No, they think that he was Bashment, right? But the younger generation gravitated towards him, and for that younger generation, who's the older generation now, he is the classic, right? So you had Beethoven, you had guys like you had people before that. So each generation's music is for that generation. Will it live on in the future with the generation who's enjoying it now? How are they going to respond to it 10 years from now? We don't know, because like I said, when I was younger and we had dub, right, the older folks were saying, well, that music, because it was
more like talking,
correct, and it was outside of their reggae, which they would dance to and that kind of stuff. But so many people appreciate it now, even some of the older ones, because they grew to like it. But of course, the generation that it grew with that, the generation that grew with that, when that plays now, it's classics for them, So I don't want to lash the music now. I mean, we all have our tastes. So what happens is, if you're listening to a station that's playing Bashment and you don't like Bashment, you switch to a station that's playing something that you like. Let the people who want to hear that listen to it and enjoy it.
I could identify with that, because I remember growing up, calypso was a bad word.
Correct.
You can the older folks you don't listen to
Banjo.
that music, you know. That's,
Banjo.
right, right. You know that's not good music.
Exactly.
And now it's appreciated because that's your like your lifestyle and that's your culture.
Exactly. You know, we all time and change happen.
Would you think that it would be wise to try to develop when you write a song or think about your song to make it give it legs that will last?
Well, you never know. That's the thing. You never know what's going to last. People, all you can do when you're creating is be true to you, right? And once you've done that, once you're true to you, one or two things will happen. You will have a hit or you won't. And if you have a hit, and I don't mean by just a popular song, because a popular song may be popular with a few people for a period of time. When you've got a hit, you got a song that starts to try and transcend your people into another set of people, into a different crowd, into a wider world, and everybody around the world is singing and appreciating your song. That's when you have a hit, right? And anything can be a hit. Anything, right? It just needs for people to identify with it. And some people will hop up with that is beer junk, right? I can't identify with that. But you know what? Hundreds of thousands more people can and are. So once you're producing your music or writing your songs, just let's be true to you, right? Make you happy, and they have tens of thousands of people who are just like you, like-minded like you, right? Who may appreciate that. Others won't, but somebody will.
You know, you made a valid point because I think what surprised me was years ago. I don't even know, maybe like it could be 10 years ago. In 1998, I was in Uganda, Kampala, and I was hearing Red Plastic Bags song playing raga 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 raga.
Correct.
It surprised me, but it was playing loud in the streets.
Exactly.
How would you think that the music industry how could it be improved? How
can the music industry be improved?
We can look at it from this perspective. What are the problems that need to be addressed that would assist in the further development of the art culture?
All right. Well, cool. If we put it that way, what we need as a people, first of all, is to embrace ourselves, embrace our music, embrace our cultures, especially Barbados, because we tend to gravitate towards anything and everything that is non-Barbadian first, right? And for instance, in most recent times, you know, people are still talking about how there wasn't good music for Crop Over 2023, and this is coming from the mouths of Bajans, right? And if you take all of the music, put it together, and play all of it, people will realize that no, we do have a lot of music out there that is good. The bashment crowd is going to have their music, right? They're going to have their set. The ones who like calypso, kaiso, they're going to realize, wow, we have a lot of great kaiso. In fact, you just witnessed it there at the finals of the Pick of the Crop 2023. And then you're going to have those who might have like fast songs, pace. And if you put all those songs together, you'll realize that you can have a good pace session, right? And have a really good party. Then, you know, the mid-tempo and the slower ones and what they call the sweet soca, tons of it out there. So all we've got to do, really and truly, is embrace our people, support it, right? Be open to it, and the same way you respond to something from any other island, embrace it the same way, simply because and what people don't realize is that it is easier to embrace that other track from wherever it comes from, simply because it was released 6 or 7 months ago. It's been out much longer. You've seen the response to the song by other people, and it plays on your psyche. So you automatically hear the song often enough to know the song and to see the kind of response that it is getting. That is why it is important that our people, our artists, release our songs a little bit. You can't release songs in June and July, for a festival that's going to end in August and expect to get the kind of response that a song that has been out 10 months before that is going to get. So we need to make sure the songs are released early and the promotion of them, are adequate enough so that people can see that there's potential in this song. This song can grow, and that's why we have hits like Plumber and Kitty Cat and Pump Me Up. Pump Me Up was released for Conga Line, right? Pump Me Up was released for Conga Line, and by Crop Over, which would be a couple months later, was now starting to grow and build, and from there it took into Carnival, which is another 6 months down the road, right? So by the time it gets to Carnival, it's gone through Miami, it has gone through New York, it has gone through all these other places, and it was being performed a lot. So obviously more people are hearing it, more people are appreciating it, and it's starting to spread wide. Plumber, Kitty Cat, all those big songs, Rupee, Alison, all these songs that did well, had time to leave these shores. You didn't have to go and produce a new song for Carnival, because then you got to fight up with the new songs from the artists of Trinidad or Jamaica or St. Vincent. You got to fight with those guys who are now putting their songs out so that they could get the response. You already have a song with a tail end, right, coming in, and people already knowing it, and that's how the hits are made. So the work has to be done, the groundwork has to be done from now to get these songs out there at these different carnivals and these different events, and to be performed. And don't just stick to, because there's so many artists that have songs, especially older artists who are putting out new songs that are great, but because the people know their older songs, they perform them, and they don't give the new songs a chance to become hits. So people have to stop being afraid to enjoy and to market and to push what is theirs.
My last question is, so what would you say now to your fans?
To my fans, I want to say to my fans, I appreciate you, I love you, I thank you for all of the love and support over the years. I continue to put music out, you continue to enjoy it, you continue to come, and you continue to support. I can't say how much I really appreciate, sometimes the advice, the comments, all kinds of things, following me on my Facebook or my Instagram, that kind of stuff. I appreciate you, and of course continue to look out for new innovative music. Of course, don't forget the old ones. Continue to enjoy that as well. But I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for all of your support.
And I thank you, Mr. Armstrong, for this opportunity to have a candid word with you.
Bon, bon, bon.
Bon, bon, bon. Okay, thank you.
First Citizens Big Show, doing a song called Chronology. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Blood.
Chronology, noun, the study of horning or cheating at the highest level.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony. Do you, John, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? Do you, Jay, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? If the God any woman here that walks in and say no, or forever one in peace. In fact, hold on. Since the two of them miss all the counseling sessions, I got something to say. I want to sit down there. Please. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Marriage was God's design. One woman, one to express affection and love. Designing the foundation, fidelity was sanctioned directly from the Lord. The holiness and good thoughts clearly hand of man. So he decided to get an outside woman. That was the start of the orgy. The orgy. All you men cheating on your wife, I will show you how you messing up your life. Women looking bad and funny, but there are poison in their husband's tea. They want to score the husband. A woman drop while she husband organ. How they got to stop the orgy? Stop the orgy. One woman, one man, a holy matrimony, that's how it should be. One woman, one man, a holy matrimony, that's how it should be. Bring it in. Sing it. Look, women joining the do. Yes, they are cheaters too. So women just on the man. But men feel that women sweet when they're tricky and discreet. So when a man's like out, he just go mad. Especially when he hears a foolish explanation, like she slip and she fall under a man. When she just studying horology, a degree in horology. You been cheating on your husband, I can show you how you're destroying them. Some men just shrink from outside, chop up with its flesh and bone. All the females never find us drowners, and some just hide themselves from the rafters. I beg you done with the orgy. Stop studying orgy. One woman, one man, in holy matrimony, that's how it should be. One woman, one man, in holy matrimony, that's how it should be. Marriage is not a joke, it is not a game or sport. So partnership be faithful. Morning is so much work, the night will send you buster. So please be honest and truthful. Don't mash up your family and have to face the events of when you were only thinking about sex. They are other subjects. There's no need to study this. All of you listening to this, pull your belly out for a little twist. Wax pages, yakis and pepper. Look, I can get Soviet balling for murder. This thing is good, drive you insane. I tell you, it just goes straight to your brain. Look, somebody next to you